Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Inspired Messengers show. I am your host, Mark Porteous, and I believe that we all choose this life for a reason. Aligning with your soul purpose is the most exciting adventure imaginable. And this series is designed to inspire, educate, and motivate you to share your unique divine gifts with the world. We share information, resources, and action steps that you can take now to improve your personal and professional life. And you can watch previous episodes and find other helpful resources to support your journey at inspiredmensengersnetwork.com. I am incredibly blessed to work with these amazing mentors and teachers who are aligned with my mission to empower inspired messengers and soul-driven entrepreneurs to give them the tools and support they need to thrive in their purpose of transforming lives. And it's a great honor for me to introduce my mentors and colleagues to you so we can all benefit from their wisdom and sharing. One of the biggest challenges that we face in helping others is our own internal blocks and some of the fears and limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. So it makes it a little more challenging for us to help other people get unstuck as well. Our guest today, Michelle Manning-Kogler, is a world-renowned transformational healer, motivational speaker, certified high-performance coach, and author of Quantum Soul Clearing: Healing the Scars Life Leaves on the Soul. She is founder of Quantum Soul Clearing Process, a spiritual technology that helps people eliminate the emotional pain from the past. For almost 30 years, Michelle has practiced in the field of energy medicine, holistic health, meditation, and distance healing. She holds several professional certifications in energy medicine, healing methods, nutrition, herbal medicine, and kinesiology. She coaches people to fully align with their innate gifts and talents so they can access their unique divine soul design. She skillfully guides her clients to create crystal clarity in their personal and professional lives while giving them practical tools to help them optimize their energy, courage, productivity, and influence so they can serve the people they are meant to serve and revolutionize the world. You can see why I'm so excited to have Michelle here. Her private and group programs are customized to blend her multiple intuitive and healing skills while also utilizing practical, powerful, high-performance coaching principles and practices to help clients ignite their ultimate potential in their chosen fields of work and service. Her focus is on the core foundational principles of emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial health and well-being, thus creating balance, wholeness, self-awareness, and empowerment. Michelle's work brings practical, uplifting tools and messages of hope, healing, and transformation to ignite human potential and evolution in the world. Hello, Michelle. Welcome.
Thanks, Mark. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Me too. It's really fun because we've got a lot of friends and we a lot of different synchronicities of groups that we're in together. So obviously the universe is conspiring to reunite us on a physical level as well as our soul level. So I'm thrilled to have you here, and I'm really grateful for you to spend the time, and the mission that you have is so well aligned with ours. So I know that this will be a very beneficial call for our viewers.
I hope so. I'm sure it will be.
It's funny, before we started, we were just chatting in the green room and talking about how this is something that you do all the time, but when you feel like there's something really important to happen, sometimes you get the jitters and stuff. And
I do. It's like that anxiety feeling. It was like, oh, there must be something really big up that we're going to share today because I am just feeling really anxious. So thanks, thanks for acknowledging that with me.
absolutely, and I think that people knowing that helps to understand that, yep, we're human beings here too, and I think people can get more comfortable knowing that we're settling into this, and we know something really great is going to happen. You're going to be actually at the end of or sometime during this call, we're going to do an activation and clearing so people can experience your gifts. But before we jump into that, can you share a little bit about how you got started on this journey? And I know it's a long story, but if you can kind of just get us caught up to where you are
Nutshell
now.
version, the tiny version. You know, I, fast forwarding, I literally woke up in the middle of the night in 1986, December of 1986, and could not walk. And I'd gone to bed perfectly happy and healthy, and got up to go to the bathroom and couldn't walk. And it was excruciating pain. And I thought, what happened? And I was ultimately diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. But what I didn't know then, and Western medicine, again, big story in a nutshell, Western medicine really began to fail me because they didn't have, at that time, there was nothing that made me understand what was really happening with the emotional piece, some of the core programming that I had picked up as a child, that the beliefs that we pick up and the interpretations of events that you take on and that shape your belief systems. And those belief systems were really underlying this whole autoimmune. And when you have an autoimmune disease, your body's immune system is attacking itself. And so it was like this self-punishment program. And it took me years to figure that out, really. But within a few short years, I was bedridden and couldn't move. Couldn't get out of bed. I'm 5'9". I weighed a whole 100 pounds, dripping wet. And I was in my early 30s, and I thought, I'm gonna die. I've got 2 small children. How am I gonna do this? And just such despair, and nothing in my life was working. I was in a relationship. I was married to somebody. We were really bad for each other. And it was just such a difficult period of time. And when I found energy medicine, what I really realized is that whole mind-body connection. And ultimately from that has come this quantum soul clearing process. And quantum soul clearing really is the culmination of everything that I've learned on my journey that's kind of blended and merged and been brought together in this holistic, really unified body of work.
And I love the mix of modalities, because there's a lot of energy work in there, but then you mix things like high performance coaching with that, which is more on the mechanics of running a business. And it's just such a great alignment, again, with the Inspired Messengers Network, because it's all about bringing those two things together and being in alignment with your purpose. So I love that you mix those together. Tell me a little bit about, you said this is how you created your quantum soul clearing process. Tell us a little bit about what that is and how that helps your client.
So the quantum soul clearing process actually evolved from all of the healing modalities that I had been learning to help heal myself. And, I was teaching spiritual response therapy, and I'd learned EFT, and I'd learned theta healing, and, all these different modalities. And I'm a real science junkie as well. I just, there's nothing I love more than physics and quantum physics. And I love learning, and I love seeing how all the little pieces of science and math and spirituality really come together. And sometimes they're two sides of a coin, and sometimes they kind of blend and merge. And what I realized as I was going through all of my healing work, it all boils down to the emotions. We create with our feelings. We create with, and our thoughts and our feelings are so intricately tied, because our feelings trigger thoughts, and our thoughts trigger feelings, and all of those come together and determine our behaviors and whether they're supportive or not. And so, all of these different modalities we're researching and going into the Akashic records, and really this whole stuff, really kind of what's the word I want to use? It was bulky. It was kind of bulky. And ultimately what I realized that it was about the feelings. And our feelings are how spirit communicates with us. When we have that knee-jerk reaction to something, that's spirit speaking to us. When that gut feeling arises, that's communication with spirit. It's with our higher self. And so understanding that if we're having negative feelings, it's simply that it's simply spirit saying, we're we're kind of off track here. That's not the truth about who you are. So, if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling betrayed, it's not the truth about this expanded being that you really are. And so the quantum soul clearing process was given to me by Spirit and really ultimately developed to help go into that feeling state, because sometimes when we've had a charge, if you've had abuse as a child or bullying of some sort, or you've had an auto accident, all these things get kind of tied up in our emotional field, and we make judgments and we come to conclusions that keep those emotional components really locked into the cellular structures. And so in my science piece, as I was studying Dr. Bruce Lipton, and, I actually had gone back to med school and was studying some other scientific principles. But what I realized is that, studying science, and especially Dr. Bruce Lipton, he was saying our environments really determine how our cells replicate and whether they're thriving or whether they're dying. And so these emotions that trigger these belief systems that are, creating these chemical cascades in our bodies are really determining, from a quantum physics standpoint, what we're creating out into the universe, because we are both the broadcasters and receivers of information. So as we're sending out these broadcast frequencies, we're also receiving back more, we're literally defining our reality by what we're sending out. And when you look when you look at an atom and you see it, how you see it actually determines how it behaves, and that's your interaction with the universe. So understanding that, from a quantum physics standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, and from a practical standpoint, what we're creating with our feelings, our thoughts, and our beliefs is creating our reality. And if we have something we don't like and Spirit is saying, ugh, that just doesn't feel good inside, then we have the opportunity to say, well, what do I really want? How can I change that? And the quantum soul clearing process is really about taking that formatted hard drive and software within us, our little personalized computer program, and changing it and re-downloading what it is that we really want to experience instead, so that the cells are doing what they need to do and our experience is reflective of that as well.
Mm-hmm. It's such a
That was a long answer.
But it's a great way of breaking down the scientific explanation of it and making it so that not only does it make scientific sense, but I think at least for me, I can feel that on a cellular level. I can understand how that works. And
Mm-hmm.
especially you mentioned the vibration, and I know in our preview call we had talked a little bit about that with the clearing and activation, about how you use these different frequencies or vibrations. Tell us a little bit more about that, about the different frequencies.
So everything is actually vibration. It's actually a frequency. When you look at words, when you look at sound, they actually are in a wave pattern. From a scientific standpoint, everything is vibrating at a certain rate. There's a certain frequency, a very dense frequency for things like rocks and granite, and very light frequency. If the molecular structures, when you look at water, are different, of course, than a solid structure, and our emotions are the same thing. They all vibrate at a different rate. And so if you can close your eyes for just a moment and feel into we were talking about power words when we were having this initial conversation, and feel into the frequency of happiness. What does your body do when you think about happiness and being happy? And that has a very specific frequency. What is?
Yeah, it feels light, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
dancing. It's a nice little, like, the vibrate. I can feel the little molecules just kind of vibrating around each other.
Right. And so now feel into the frequency of joy.
Mm.
And joy is an actual power word. Our words have the power to create and to uncreate as well, to destroy. So when you think of the word joy, how is that in relationship to happiness?
Expansive. It feels like water turning to steam.
Yeah, it's like this huge and there's the physical body actually reacts to that word, and you can feel the cells of your body vibrate at a different rate. And happiness is great. Joy is this big feeling. And it's the same with negative feelings. Everything is on a scale. Dr. David Hawkins wrote the book Power versus Force, and he's calibrated, all of the different words and different levels, and where they calibrate vibrationally on a scale of 1 to 1,000. And there are actually scales higher than that, but those word frequencies are either supporting you and supporting life and supporting physical health, or they're breaking you down. They're changing the chemical components and constituents in your body, and they're creating a dis-ease state that ultimately shows up as disease in your body. And that's what happened to me. I felt shame and guilt, and I was angry and resentful a lot of the time, and that breaks down your body. Those feelings of resentment and fear and anxiety all have a different interaction with the physical body compared to happiness or joy or contentment. Feel into the words contentment. Feel into the words peace. That inner peace. Those all have different frequencies that calibrate on a different vibrational frequency and a different scale. And as you move up that scale, you have greater and greater health, and you have greater prosperity, and you have better relationships, and you have a completely different reaction and interaction with the world that you're creating.
Again, it's a perfectly understandable explanation. So how do you then how do you use the quantum clearing to change that vibration?
So would you like to go through a quick process?
Yeah, that's great. Let's do that.
Is this the time to do it, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, and in fact, I don't know if if we want to jump right into that, or is this related to the free gift that you're offering?
Yes, actually, it is related to the free gift that I'm offering. The free gift that I'm offering is an explosion of joy transmission, which uses the quantum cell clearing process in it, and is also some channeled frequencies. So, but yeah, so for example, let's take the frequency of fear, because that's up big time for people right now. Yeah. With everything that's happening, politically in the United States, and economically, there's an enormous amount of fear, and with it some anxiety. Mm-hmm. So let's just I want to quickly ask the universe, ask Source, and my highest guides, highest light beings, if we can just automatically prep to work for everybody. There we go. And we're just going to create this containment field around each and every one of us that is filled with highest, purest origin light. There we go. Just drop down inside, if you would, everybody, right down into that belly area. There we go. And then we're going to ask to create a separate containment field so there's no cross-contamination. We're just going to give the intention that any fear or anxiety that you have is being pulled up out of the body and sent into that other field as we go through this process. So we're going to ask each of our highest selves, and each aspect of our emotional, mental, physical, spiritual bodies, to seek, find, gather, and bind all of the fear and the anxiety that we're feeling. And it doesn't matter if it's around the political process or if it's something that's happening in our personal lives, in our work lives. Just seek, find, gather, and bind all of that energy and that frequency of fear and anxiety. There we go. And we're going to ask that all of that energy, we're going to release its need to be within us, and we're going to release our need to have it, because there's always like a contract. You know, the frequency itself needs to have a home, and if we're having something that creates that frequency, we're giving unconscious permission for it to live and to reside within us. So we're going to break those bonds, and we're going to ask to break resonance with that frequency, and we're going to break and clear all of our need to run that fear or anxiety for whatever reason. There's a big shift. Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to break resonance. Feel as it just simply shatters into trillions of little pieces and begins pouring out of you like grains of sand out of an hourglass. You might feel it out the front, the back, the sides, the top, or the bottom. We're going to break and clear the habit or addiction to all of these energies and frequencies. We're going to allow all of the cells in all of our bodies throughout our lifetimes and existences to release all of these energies in one huge collective cough. And then immediately change their receptor sites so they no longer have a place to connect back in. And we're going to fill those receptor sites with highest, purest origin light frequencies. There we go. And then we're going to ask that all of the highest, purest origin light clearing processes that will fully and completely support the clearing and removal of all of these fear and energy frequencies are removed from our bodies, our energy bodies, our souls, our entire beings, throughout all of our systems, throughout our egos and their systems, throughout our mitochondria, all of their generations and all of their systems, throughout all of our generations and their systems, throughout our proteins, environments, associations, and entanglements, throughout our personal and the collective consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness, throughout our personal, planetary, and universal core operating systems, all systems within those systems, and all interfaces and connections to those systems, and how it's affecting us in any way, shape, or form, time, place, or space, at all levels, layers, and depths of each and all of our beings. Take and release. Apparently my neighbor's got some stuff going on, creating a little anxiety there. There we go. And just release. There we go. Now, the other piece of the quantum soul clearing process is about forgiveness. So anywhere where we've had an interaction with another person, we've had, anytime we have an interaction where there's conflict or blame or shame or guilt or any of those frequencies, we have a part in it. Whether we feel like, it's being done to us or not, we still have a part in it. And so as we go through forgiveness processes, it releases this energy in such an interesting way. And so I'm going to save my forgiveness process so that everybody can feel it. Allow these words to just flow through you. And in doing this forgiveness, and I want to really clarify this, because forgiveness isn't about saying, yeah, this was really ugly and you hurt my feelings and I'm just going to forgive you and whatever. This is saying, I respect you. I respect the fact that we've had this interaction. And I respect myself just as much. I'm not condoning this behavior, but I'm no longer willing to have this interaction with you in any way, shape, or form. And so I'm going to give you your energetic ball of stuff, and I'm going to take my energetic ball of stuff, and we're going to call it good. And I'm going to allow you to take whatever your piece of this is, and I'm taking my energetic ball and I'm going home. Because when we don't forgive, I had this huge download a couple of weeks ago. When we don't forgive someone, we are actually taking on all of their karma. And it was like, oh, so not doing that. Mm-hmm. It was this huge impetus to just go, oh, I'm letting that go. Because when we don't forgive ourselves, we're also keeping our own karma. And so, one of the great masters was Jesus, and his whole message was about forgiveness. It was about, forgiving so that we can learn to love more effectively. And so anyway, I'm just going to go through this process.
Okay, great. I want to
Okay.
go just real quickly, the whole forgiving thing. I want to emphasize a lot of people, I think, look at forgiving as something they're doing for the other person. They're like,
Right.
okay, they've done something to me. Well, now I'm going to give them back and say, I'm letting you off the hook. But really, it's letting yourself off of that hook. So it's a gift to yourself more than it is to the person who you may have seen as harming you.
It's the most deliciously selfish thing you can do, in a really positive way, and it's the most loving thing that you can do for yourself, because when you release all of that energy, you are really free. And so as we go through this, you'll feel that.
Yeah.
Okay, so close your eyes and allow these frequencies and these words to just flow through like you're saying them yourself. I willingly forgive myself for any and all actual or perceived hurt or harm I may have caused myself or any others, or that any others have caused me or any others, with all of these energies and all of these frequencies of fear and anxiety and everything they represent. I willingly love and forgive myself. I willingly love and forgive all others. All others willingly love and forgive me, and we release each other where appropriate. I willingly love and forgive God Source, and God Source willingly loves and forgives me. I willingly love and forgive my highest oversoul self, and my highest oversoul self willingly loves and forgives me. I am absolutely, ultimately, infinitely, quantumly loved and forgiven. I now willingly release all of these energies and frequencies, everything that was sought, found, gathered, and bound, and everything that represents, and go in peace, love, joy, harmony, health, wealth, and abundance. Take a breath in and release. Can you feel how that just dislodges and disengages all that fear and anxiety frequency?
It does. Like the first part of the exercise, I could really feel all the stuff draining out, but then it still felt like it was there, and now it kind of dissipated.
Yeah, exactly. So you ready to let all of it go once and for all?
Yeah, let's do it.
So repeat after me. On behalf of everybody, and everybody at home, say it too. Final clear all of these energies and frequencies now.
Final clear all of these
Energies and frequencies.
frequencies now.
And that's clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize them all back to and through each of their source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources as if they never existed and as if what they did and what has occurred never ever happened. And let's begin downloading, and this is my favorite part of the whole thing. So let's begin downloading peace and peace of mind and comfort. Let's download helpful people and support. Let's download the frequencies of blessings and bliss and more peace. Let's download soul salve, quantum cosmic salve. Let's download openness, willingness, and the ability to receive miracles, great and small, infinite prosperity. Let's download divine guidance, joy, jubilation, laughter, life, and love. Let's download gratitude and grace, goodness, honesty and integrity, impeccability. Let's download feeling and being safe, secure, respect in all of its forms, the respect of others, the respect from others, and the respect for ourselves. Let's download self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, self-knowingness, self-appreciation. Let's download thriving, strength and success, transcendence, worthiness and wholeness, that wholesomeness, that feeling and being so valued and validated and vivacious, that openness with open arms, that welcomeness, oneness, wholeness, freedom, belonging, sovereignty. Let's download any other highest, purest origin light frequencies, those quantum source light frequencies that may not have been said, but that are needed in any and all languages. And let's download, infuse, implement, and integrate all of these new frequencies and everything they represent. Clear and remove all old limiting patterns and programs. Replace with these new frequencies and everything they represent at all levels, layers, and depths of our entire beings. Take a breath in. Just feel as all of these new frequencies fill the cells, the molecules, the atoms, and the subatomic particles of our bodies, minds, souls, and beings, filling the bones, tendons, muscles, ligaments, tissues, and fascia, flowing through your bloodstream, your central nervous system, all of the organs and glands, each of the compartments of the brain, and then emanating out in these amazing beams of love and light out into the world as we connect with one another, with all of the people, places, circumstances, events, and things that are in complete alignment with these frequencies, so that we're creating this new matrix, this new grid, this new hologram, this new paradigm of love and light and compassion. And then activate, synchronize, harmonize, and optimize all of these new frequencies and everything they represent. Please integrate and anchor them in at all levels, layers, and depths of each and all of our beings, and then please apply them all as functional skill sets. Take a breath in. Can you just feel how that just anchors all of that right in?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that just you're glowing, Mark?
Yeah, no, I absolutely feel like I got chills in my shoulders. And as you're thinking, as you're doing this, I was trying to be just completely present, but I was also asking, well, I see how this can help anybody to get through those clearings, and then specifically for messengers, how does this help us with our clients or with those people that we're here to serve, whether it's a parent or anything else? And those last few words, not only they really did anchor it in as amplifying the gifts that we have to share.
It really does. And you're right. Anybody can use this particular technology, and it can be done in just a few minutes. We did the kind of longer version here. There's a shorter version that I teach, but I wanted people to feel and really immerse in this whole process, so that they really get and understand at that whole cellular frequency how important this is, can be, that that it can be when people are feeling that difference. And so tap in, if you would just take a second, check in, and just kind of see if you can locate that frequency of anxiety or fear anywhere.
Right between my heart and my solar plexus.
Okay, so let's just give the intention that we're going to go through that, and that we're going to apply that whole clearing process to that fear and anxiety in there, and just clear it out. Close your eyes for just a second. There we go. Wow, feel that just dissipate?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is so cool. So, is there any other place in your physical body that you can feel that? Or is there any resonance?
It doesn't feel like it. Like it really feels like it's like I can really feel that clearing where there's the energy can flow through the whole chakra system right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so everything is just completely aligned. And let's just give the intention now that all of the chakras are working in harmony, synchronicity, and order. And that, any physical systems that need an upgrade are infused with highest, purest origin light for that upgrade. Oh, your body likes this frequency.
You're so right. You know that I'm feeling under the weather, but like I felt my temperature drop. I literally have a fever, and I could feel that go away, and I don't feel congested. It's amazing that can happen in just minutes.
That quick. That quick. So, and you said something really interesting earlier, how can this really help messengers? Well, being a messenger, I know that as I began, putting myself out there in the world, all of that came up. And it's really hard to see our own self-sabotage, but we can feel it. It's like something feels like it's just blocking me, and usually it's old programming. And so when we've all had so many lifetimes and existences where we've been persecuted and tortured and killed, and all the really fun stuff. and when we go to be that messenger again, there's so much stuff in the collective also about being that bringer of light, and what really happens to bringers of light or historically has happened to them on this planet. And so there's that component in there, and it's like, ooh, how do I get past this? And there's a lot of family programming, a lot of generational programming about don't be bigger than who you are, don't be seen. Children are supposed to be seen and not heard, and keep your mouth shut, and all of that stuff. And so the quantum soul clearing process itself really helps work through all that energy and replace all of that old programming with what you do want to experience instead, that feeling of expansion and the courage to move forward. So that's really how I help a lot of messengers with their message really become congruent with it, and feel safe and have powerful tools to really be out there in the world.
Well, I can see how just going through that process that we just went through, anybody can go back and listen to this again and again,
Yes.
and re-feel that, because I think something else that I was aware of, that this feels so great right now. And sometimes we get these releases and we think, oh, good, everything is all better now. And then life happens again. And,
right? Who knew?
And this happens in different phases of our life where we're like, okay, phew, I'm finally through that. And then you do see it just popping back up again. So one of the things that, again, somebody could go back through and listen to this, again, you have it's the long form, kind of, as you said. I felt three different pieces of that. The first part of really kind of separating out the junk from the essence, and then the forgiveness, kind of dissipating it, clearing it away, and then that anchoring at the end that has really solidified the whole thing. Is that the same process that you go through in your gift?
It is, and in my gift, I also. It's funny you said there's three segments, and when I wrote my book, I said there were three, but I'd left out the segment of the forgiveness process. I mean, it's in the book, but it was like, oh, there are actually four pieces, and I just had that epiphany now. So thank you, Mark. Now I have to rewrite everything.
I can relate to that.
I laugh. Darn it. But yeah, the first step is really connecting in. And so in my gift, this explosion of joy, I help you really connect in and align with that soul presence, because the first step of the quantum soul clearing process really is plugging in. When we plug into the solar plexus, down into that belly, into that core piece of who we are, we're literally plugging into the power of the universe. We're plugging into the soul, that spark, that part of the divine that is completely forever aligned with divinity, with source, God source, the universe, whatever your terminology is. But it really is plugging into that universal consciousness, so that as you do this process, the greater part of who you are, that oversoul self, that connection to God source, can see this whole aspect, all of the open Akashic records anywhere, any other lifetime in existence where these energies are open, and it actually will, that oversoul self will go out and identify where they're at. And as you're doing this process, it aligns and clears it out of those lifetimes as well. So every aspect of who you are, we are these multidimensional beings. And so every aspect of who we are is then congruent and in alignment, so that any past lifetime stuff is no longer running. And that, I think, is really the power of the quantum soul clearing process, is bringing all of our lifetimes and existences into congruency, because all of it's being cleared out of those lifetimes as well.
That's
Kind of
so
cool.
powerful. Yeah, very cool. And so again, you can download the gift right below with the button, or if you're listening to this on audio, you can go to quantumsoulclearing.com/messengers network. quantumsoulclearing.com/messengers network. And I guess my last question would be, we did a whole process on the frequency, relieving the frequency of fear. How is that process different than the process of bringing in joy? You would think just getting rid of fear would do it, but what's the difference between working with the different frequencies?
So the difference in working with the different frequencies, we worked on fear and anxiety in this one. If you were to work on a different frequency, another negative frequency, you would go through the same process and clear that out. Bringing in those positive frequencies at the end, once you remove something, nature abhors a vacuum, you have to fill it with something else, or the old stuff just comes back in. And so as we go through the download process itself, it's literally re-infusing every aspect of who we are with the frequencies that we want to experience. And some people, there's kind of a belief system, I think, out there that clearing work is so old paradigm and blah blah blah. And there is something to that. But Louise Hay, and I love this because it's like, wow, is this just so passe? Is this so old paradigm? And she said something so powerful and so important. She said, you can't have a clean house unless you can actually see the dirt and do something about it. And so once we identify these limited programs, we can get through them and we can shift it in an instant. This is just a vehicle, a framework to do that. And so the quantum soul clearing process really is that plugging in, it's identifying what we don't want, and then shifting and adding in what it is that we do want while we're doing. And then, that middle process is the forgiveness, taking mastery of where it is that we, what our part is in it. Whether it's, choosing to be the victim in our life or just the innocent bystander, wrong place at the wrong time, whatever that is. Forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, though, is so powerful, and it really is the most loving thing and selfish thing we can do for ourselves in a really loving way. And I want to say something also. The link that we have is quantumsoulclearing.com/messenger, not plural, messenger network. Okay, so great. Just, yeah, sorry, I know that it's the messengers network, but
nope, that's great. Messenger network. And I know we've had actually people continuing to join us that may have missed part of that process. This is available anytime at Inspired Messengers with an S network.com, and you can listen to it if you missed the process or want to hear any of that again and be able to go through it again. I think it's a great thing to have in the library. Same thing with downloading your gift. When anytime you want to have an explosion of joy, that's a great tool to get you there. And again, it just for me, it feels like you said about Louise Hay, clearing out that dirt. Once we can be aware of it and let go of that and fill that back in, that gives us the power of who we really are to share our gifts with those that we're here to serve. So I think as messengers or social entrepreneurs of whatever type, being able to get rid of that junk and to really fill ourselves with that power is such an important piece of what we do.
Well, and there's also something else that I really want to talk to people about, and that is everybody has these negative feelings. We will always, I think, have them. It's part of this human existence and part of this human life. Those negative feelings aren't an indication that there's something wrong with us. It's not an indication that we're broken, although sometimes it feels like it because it's so big. And believe me, I've been there. I can't tell you the amount of despair, that I've felt in my life. And I believed for a long time that there was something really wrong with me and I was really broken. But it's not the truth. It's simply, I don't want to say this, it's simply your soul saying, this isn't the truth of who you are. And the bigger the despair, the bigger that frequency feels, the more untrue it is. The bigger the guilt or the bigger the shame, the bigger you are as this amazing being of light that might be playing in that limited field. Does that make sense? Am I saying it right, Mark?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And I kind of alluded to that earlier, that you can go through this and feel great, and then you say, "Oh my God, I'm having this setback again." And I
Mm-hmm.
think basically you're reminding us that it is a journey. You don't just,
It
okay,
is a journey.
we're here now, everything is all good. But the reason that we're going through life is that it is a constant journey, and it's a process of continuing to get those clearings and evolving.
Well, and where we're part of a collective, we're these individuals, but we're part of a collective. And when you think there are 8 billion souls on this planet, that we're also part of a collective, not including, but not limited to, everybody who's come before us and everybody who's come after us, that's a lot of energy. And so there are more and more empaths, and people who are understanding that they're empaths, they pick up on all these other people's energies. They pick up on world energies. And so one of the first questions you also have to ask yourself is this mine? And if it's not, just let it go. If it is, then then this work, and even if this isn't yours, the quantum soul clearing process can help you release it. So just, if it comes up again, understand that there's a deeper and deeper layer. There's something else at the core of what that is that's trying to speak to you.
That's
It's
really
not that you're
important.
wrong. It's not that you're wrong, and it's not that you've done something wrong, and it's not that you're bad, and it's none of that. It's simply an opportunity to go, oh, this isn't what I want. I want something else, and this is what I want.
No, I think that's so important, and I really appreciate you bringing that up, because we already have these feelings, and then we add guilt to those feelings for having the feelings.
Right.
So yeah, that's important to
Well,
recognize.
and we're told as light workers and light bearers and light bringers, we're not supposed to feel that. If you're feeling that, there's something, you're just so off base, and it's like, that is so wrong. That is wrong.
Uh, well, I think that is a great way to kind of wrap things up. Before we go, I know we're quite a bit over. I really appreciate.
Sorry.
No, thank you so much. I think it's been a really wonderful gift. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or say before we say goodbye?
I just want to thank everybody for being here, and especially for you for bringing this messengers network to life, because we really are in this together, all of us. If I can really portray that there is nothing wrong with you, that you are these immense beings of light and love and compassion, and you have big work in the world to do. I'm so appreciative of all that you're doing, Mark, and everybody who's listening to us, because we are in this together. And thank you for being who you are.
Beautiful, thank you. And yeah, I appreciate you acknowledging that we're all doing our piece, and
We are.
important to be doing it in community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And also, I want to thank you for all the work that you're doing in the world, and we're really grateful for our connection. Um,
I am too.
and I know that our journey is just beginning. We've got a lot of really wonderful work to do. Um, and like you, I also want to thank everybody for watching, because the fact that you're here means that you realize that you do have important work to do, and that you talk about being the change. This is the process. You talk about being in the collective, that as we continue to heal ourselves, we really are healing the world. And I'm grateful for your part in doing that as a viewer and a part of our community. I also wanted to remind you that I do believe that we all have a very special message and important gifts to share, including you. And if you're inspired to share your message, we're here to support you. Again, you can learn more at theinspiredmessengersnetwork.com and get all of our free resources there. And of course, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/inspired messengers. And finally, I just wanted to end by reminding you that you really, truly are a brilliant light in the world. Please keep shining brightly. Namaste.